Hi, folks. Rick Berube here for another Facebook Live on this lovely Tuesday. What is today? March 9th. Woo! March 9th. We're cooking along. The year is crazy. And from lovely state of Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona, we have Mr. Matt Crooks. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
All right. So one of the reasons I picked you is because, well, before we get into that, let's do this. Tell them a little about yourself, how long you've been doing this, maybe a little about your past, and then we'll get into some other stuff.
Yeah, so I've actually been licensed for 5 years now. It's basically like a 5-year mark. I was the first of this month, so I've made it this far, which is cool. Prior to that, I was in the Marine Corps, active duty, and I was actually a recruiter as my most recent duty station here in Chandler, and learned a lot about sales, prospecting, and volume, systematic, sales, things that are really important that way. And try and figure something to do on the backside. Ended up going into a team with my father-in-law and brother-in-law all together. That lasted for about a year and a half before that kind of fizzled out, and went at it alone and unafraid before Jay Jasper approached me a couple of times looking to get me on the team. And about 2.5 years ago, I made that move, and it's been good ever since.
So you believe orange is the truth as well, don't you?
Yeah, it's good. I like the orange. He tries to get us to wear it a lot, but I don't know that I look good in orange. Maybe if I was a little darker in the skin or not as pale, it would look a little better, but it's all good.
No, you look good, I'm sure. Well, I got to think, and I remember when you guys first came, we met, you came to my Success Series, the three of you together. And so, and that's pretty much, the business is incredible. And you made a very, very good statement. You said, I'm still doing this in 5 years. That puts you in a small group of people, just so you know. You're doing this and you're doing well. Okay, this business, even though it's easy to get into, it takes a little while to get it going. And a lot of people don't have the patience for that. So congratulations for having the patience. Because, you're basically through the tough, like you ever play golf in like 35 mile an hour winds and, and all of a sudden it calms down and the game is so much easier. That's what you've gone through.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, it's quite a bit different now than it was, even 4 years ago. So
yeah. Well, you had great training. You understand rejection, being a Marine recruiter, calling people on the phone, right? I mean, I'm sure you're used to getting hung up on and everything.
I got really good at being told no, not only by 17-year-old kids, but their parents as well. So I liked hearing that apparently after a while. So it was a challenge.
They take the phone away from the kid. No, he's not going anywhere. Exactly. But kids think, the young kids got to think it's kind of cool to go in and learn all that stuff and the guns, and because they used to playing video games. But I'm sure they're in for a wake-up call when they actually get there.
Yeah, the reality is a little bit different when someone's this close to your face screaming at you. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I know. All the movie training is probably true, right? What they show.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So you're on the Jay Jasper team. I interviewed Jay on here. Love Jay. It's a great team. You guys are doing incredibly well too. And how, of the whole team, how much are you responsible for as far as production goes? Last year, this year, what's your goal? Maybe give them a little to that so they know what you're doing individually.
Yeah, last year, individually, I was around 5 million. I think the team, we had a lot of growth last year. We started with about 6, ended the year with like 21 or 22 agents. So we really grew a lot, but I was probably around responsible for maybe 17 to 20% of the total sales for the team when it was all said and done, if not a little bit more. This year, I've set a goal. I have a couple of different goals. One goal is to try and have 2 transactions a month. I think that would be really awesome if I can make that. I'm on pace for that right now, so that's good. And then about 9.5 million in sales volume for the year would be what I'd like to see this year. And by the end of this month, I'll have about 4 million closed and under contract. So again, on pace for that as well. So
that is great. So you're at, if you did 5, and that's what my notes say too, by the way, 5 million. If you're at 4 million closed and pending already, that means you're 80% of the way in 25, less than 25, like 18% of the time so far. You'll be at 30% by the end of this month, or maybe it's 20% you're at so far. So that's incredible. Congratulations. That's great. Love it.
I appreciate that.
Love it, love it, love it. So 4 million close. Yeah, you can definitely achieve that. Even round it to 10 million. What the hell? You can tell
Yeah,
you're an
I'll
analytical
take
person.
it.
You say 9.5 and don't round it to 10. All
Yeah.
right. So that's awesome, Matt. Congratulations. And I'm sure you'll continue that because let's face it, remember last year, about 2 weeks from now, we had that crazy little, very serious thing that happened that made closings disappear by 50% for about 6 to 8 weeks. And then they slowly started trickling back up. You probably remember that, right?
Yeah, I think that's still a little fresh in the memory.
Yeah, imagine it's all in 2 weeks. It'll be a year. Can you imagine when it really became serious? It was serious before that, but we really became aware of it. Even though you have to give Arizona credit, your state handled it. You were the most open. You still were able to operate the most, but it still had a tremendous effect on your business last year, didn't it?
It definitely did. A lot of the sales that we were doing was people that were out of state. I think, I had like 13 out of state clients last year, and that involved everything from, FaceTime showings, them not even seeing the home until 2 weeks after it closed because they just couldn't get here. So it was a whole new set of challenges last year. But again, it was fun. It was kind of, different. Here we are doing, virtual FaceTime live to get out some training instead of in person. So, it's something that changed a lot, but it didn't really slow us down much after we kind of adapted to all the changes.
Yeah, after I would say April and May, the end of March finished okay, but April and May were affected, and then June, got right back to, and then July was for some of our offices were the best months they've ever had. So and it was a very serious situation. It still is. I hope everybody gets vaccinated and we get all that stuff out of the way quick. But even with all that going on and all the repercussions of it, the market's pretty incredible this year, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's wild. It's obviously our inventory's low when you look at it, but we're higher than we've ever been with the number of homes sold. So everyone's getting after it, and the homes are just flying off. With half a month's supply basically. So inventory's down in that sense, but it's up overall across the board. So we're a very hot market right now, very competitive.
And that's such a great point for people to understand what you just said is that the active on the market right now as a snapshot in time is way less than what it was last year because all these homes are coming on the market and selling so fast. So it's not like there's less inventory. It's just lasting less time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's, you get 2 or 3 days before there's multiple offers and it's, the home's off the market. So
yeah, it's not uncommon for people after being on the market for 3-4 days. Okay, we have 40 showings in the next 2 days. We have cut showings. When's the last time you saw that? Never in your career, right?
Yeah, no, definitely not for me. Yeah.
I keep telling people, like one of my things in my training is when it's a first, I'll tell you, well, in the last year, there's been a lot of firsts. Okay. And here's another first. I've been doing this 36 years. I've never seen a market like this. I've seen close to this, but never, you put a house on the market at what it's worth and it sells for 10, 12% over with 40 offer. I've never seen that. That's almost crazy. It isn't almost crazy. It is crazy.
I think it is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. No. And the people go, how long can it last? I don't know. Everything is lined up. I mean, the economy's kicking back into gear. Interest rates are incredible, which has got to be a huge part of it. And inventory continues to be tight. So it's still a great time to buy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like our local analysts, the Cromford report, they definitely project growth for, 1 to 3 years, it sounds like. So yeah. We'll see if that can happen.
And I know your fearless leader there knows the numbers too, Jay. And I know that the Fed, I've never seen, once again, a first. Late last year, they said, we're going to keep rates pretty stable like where they are till the end of 2023. 3-year prediction from the Fed. I've never heard that before. That's a new one. Yeah. I'm like, I had to are you sure they said that? I had to watch the clip. Oh my God. So that being said, they're going to fluctuate. They've gone up a little bit, which is spurred inventory. But yeah, so, okay, we don't need to sell them. We all know the market's good. Even the paper, when the news, the papers, CNN, ABC, CBS, when they're saying it's good, it's been good for a while before they'll even start saying it's good, that lovely negative news. But okay, so you're going to go from 5 million, which is incredible, to 10 million or 9.5. I'm going to go with your number. Okay, so how do you do that? How do you make that happen?
Well, so a lot of it is driven from the internet, and I'm not talking pay per click or anything like that, or Facebook ads. We've got a Facebook group called Moving to Arizona that we started, that is growing a lot now. It's to the point where Facebook is growing it organically just through the searches when people are searching things on there. And, it's a good place to pick up potential clients. A lot of people have questions in there trying to figure out what they have to do. What's the best way to get here? They're looking for a lender. They have loan questions. So that one's pretty good. And I've actually have my brother, who is kind of a social media star in his own right. He has a YouTube channel with about 47,000 subscribers that focuses just on living in Arizona.
Wow.
His topics range for everything here, basically. And so when he wants to put out a real estate video, he'll call me up, ask me a bunch of questions about things that he should put in there. Every now and then I'll get into a video with him. But, I give him the information. He puts that out, and my customer support emails blow up from the website with people registering, and phone calls, text messages, things like that. People that are looking to relocate. So that's, again, I said I had like 13 out-of-state clients last year. A lot of them come from that, just from his YouTube videos or Facebook groups that we've started. So that's free to us. That costs absolutely nothing. It's a little bit more work. Again, it comes down to being comfortable in front of the camera. For him, he does it every day. He makes videos on all kinds of different topics. And so it's easy for him to do it. And, he'll just interview me, ask me a couple questions, and people reach out. So that's one thing that has really driven my business in the last year and a half, probably, I would say.
Okay. So your Facebook page is called Moving to Arizona?
Yeah. So that's the Facebook group that we have. And then there's another one that my brother has along with his YouTube page. It's Living in Arizona Now. And then he's got a Facebook group that has there too. It has about 17,000 people in it, but it got a little bit undesirable for me with some of the posts that people started making, and hatred for other states and stuff. So I kind of left that because I didn't want to be associated with that kind of content anymore. But we created our own that Jay created one, and we monitor that, and we're starting to see some business out of there as well. So
that's great. So that's part of the internet stuff, the social media, which is great. All right.
Yeah,
anything
absolutely.
else you do as far as internet stuff?
We do have, we're into, like, I believe it's called Ojo now. They have some internet leads where people register on there. They pre-qualify their questions. I used Commissions Inc. for a while, especially when I was a single agent doing that. A little more expensive, so it really forces you to get in there and make those 25 to 30 phone calls a day. Try and prospect in volume, basically, because it's expensive and you have to close a lot to pay a lot. But I don't do that right now. Maybe something I look at again in the near future. But that's really it for the internet leads. It's a lot, like I said, it's all organic and easy and free, which is important.
Did you say Ojo?
Yes.
Because I know, is Chris Heller still involved with them?
I'm not really sure. That's Jay signed us all up for it.
Gotcha.
He's got a couple different ones he put us in, but it's great. It's just one of those things. It's like Zillow now, where you pay them a referral fee. And so, again, you're motivated to close.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, good. And it sounds like you do some grassroots prospecting as well.
Yeah, I do. So this may hurt a little bit to hear, but I don't really do the open houses. I just have never had luck with it. It's just something that hasn't worked for me. So I kind of drifted away from that because I wanted to stick with things that did work. I rely a lot on some friends in the local area. I have a friend that's a police officer with Tempe Police Department. He sends me business a lot. He's anytime he's talking to anyone about real estate, he's like, "Hey, you got to talk to my guy Matt. You got to talk to Matt." And so that's really good. I depend on a lot of referrals here, and with just some friends that I have. So other marketing, I don't necessarily do a lot individually. I know Jay does some stuff for the team. But that's kind of, I just stick with what works for me, and that's something that really does work for me. So.
Yeah, and you're not the first one who's decided that open houses weren't for them. I mean, as long as you're doing other proactive activities, because for a lot of people, the open house is an easier, as a trainer, I use it to get people into prospecting using company tools. It's the perfect event to learn to talk to people, get outdoor knocking, invite them to the open house, follow up, use company tools, being neighborhood reports and all different types of things to get them doing it. but you're already doing all those things too. So your sphere, by being where, living where you are for some time now, your sphere, it sounds like, is a huge part of your business, right?
Yeah, it definitely is. And I hosted like a movie night in the park in my neighborhood like 2.5 years ago, even. And one of the people from there, he was like, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me, but we did the movie night." And I was like, "Yeah, I definitely remember you in the neighborhood." And he's looking to sell now. So, doing events in your community. I have 700 homes in my little area, but people know who I am and they know that I sell real estate here. And I think that's really important too, is to get that out there, letting everyone know what you do, even if it's just posting to the community page, just some market data every now and then, not filling it up, of course. I think that's a really good thing. My neighbors know me, so I've made it a point to be well known here. So yeah, Sphere definitely pays off.
Good. It sounds like you added a bunch of Sphere and a decent sized farm into that equation too by having the movie night. And when you have the movie night, how many people showed up? Was there quite a few people there?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say there was definitely over 100 people. We brought in a little popcorn truck, basically like a food truck for popcorn. It was a giant projector in the grass area, and it was nice. I'm looking probably to do another one here soon. We have a community yard sale that'll happen next month that I'm going to try and get involved with that too. So
yeah, I was just talking to somebody in your office and they're doing a shredathon in their farm too. So those types of things work too.
Yeah, just thinking outside the box, especially like I live in Gilbert. There's so many families out here, young kids everywhere. People love that stuff. They love, especially with everything COVID going on, to be able to sit outside, socially distant in beautiful weather. I think a movie night or some other kind of event. We have food trucks every Saturday night. They're well attended. So I'm going to try and take advantage of that now again. So I think it's important.
I like your idea of outside better, but even a lot of these movie theaters, if you'll commit to like even 25 tickets, they'll let you have the whole movie theater, for sure. So you can invite your whole farm in there too if you wanted to. But I like outside better, especially the weather this time of year where you are. It's absolutely fabulous before it gets too hot.
Yeah, we've got about another month and a half of okay before it's really hot.
Right. So, okay. So, these are some really good points. Number one, you've made it to the 5-year. Number two, you're going to double your business this year and be around $10 million, which is incredible. So, Matt, knowing what you know now, especially being an analytical personality, I was going to joke with you, by the way, when you said, well, I don't like open houses that much. I was going to say, well, when they walk in, you say, drop and give me 20. That's not really good for open houses, but I guess I did throw it in there. Hope it's 5. Anyway, so I'm just giving you a hard time. So, all right. Now, taking the leap that you have, okay, and so forth, if you could give them, what you know now, if you knew this when you started, let's say, what would be the 3 most important pieces of advice you'd give them?
So one is be patient. And I know that sounds kind of crazy because everyone's always out there trying to get their transactions going. But just be patient. I think, a lot of times clients can feel if you're maybe on the desperate side. So try and always go out there with a smile, understanding that it takes time. Very, very few agents roll right in and have their first transaction in the first month, let alone 2 months. So just stay at it. It'll come as long as you're doing the right things. One of the other things I'd say is, kind of like me, I don't really do the open houses anymore. I did a lot when I did start. So I will say that, but focus on the things that actually work for you. Making 55 phone calls a day might not be something that you really enjoy. But if you're getting a little bit of a return on it, then you should definitely keep doing it. I don't think any of us like to do it, but prospecting in volume has proven to work no matter what you're doing. The more people you talk to, the odds are you're going to have somebody in that pile of people that's really going to work. After a couple of years, if you realize it just doesn't work, then don't spend your time doing it, but find what does work for you. Especially, cast that wide net at first, and whatever's working, just go there and focus a lot more of your attention there as you kind of hone into what works for you. And the last thing I'd say that I think is really important is so many people are using the internet to search for homes and find their agent, find their people. Have a dominant online presence if you can. Like I was saying, start your Facebook groups. If you're in Nevada, do a moving to Nevada, something along those lines, or living in Nevada now. Get in there, start that up. It's going to take some time to grow, but once it gets above around 2,000 people, it's going to have organic growth, and you'll find business in there. It doesn't matter how many groups there are. People are in multiple groups still looking. It's just focus a lot on internet as well, because it's going to bring you business.
Yeah, I love it too. I love what you said. Be patient. Okay, my little joke at Success Series: be patient, or you'll become one. Right? You got to be. You could drive yourself crazy in this business. So be patient. Everything, and like what you said. I tried open houses a lot, and you got to try a little of everything, and then you narrow it down into the things that are actually giving you a return. Because it's like a buffet. You can't eat the whole buffet. Although in Vegas, I've seen people try. Quite embarrassing. No, but but the things that are going to work for you, and you line up your schedule with them. Right. Yeah. And then, give it time. It'll work for you if you're working it. This is an incredible business if you're willing to put the time in to get the return.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where being systematic with your prospecting is really important. Block your windows in the morning, 8 to 10. That's your phone call time. If you're not totally comfortable with phone calls, send the text messages. People prefer text messages a lot of the time now anyways. I think that's important. Then, during later on in the day, you're out there maybe door knocking for your open house that's coming up. If you are still doing them at that time, just be systematic about it. Everything with a purpose. And I think you'll see it's going to turn around for you pretty quick, and you'll get going, and then continue to be that way. Ride the waves, but when you're slow, that's when you should really be hitting it heavy.
That's true. And the thing is that I think that if someone just decides. I was just doing a little for one of our office meetings before I came in here and to do this. And, some of these things that we're talking about are going to make you uncomfortable. They're going to get you outside your comfort zone. But when have you ever had growth inside your comfort zone? Everything everything you're talking about took you a little while to get used to it, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it still does. And everything that happens now is different than it was a year, 4, 5 years ago. And, it's always changing, and you should always be outside your comfort zone. You're going to experience things, even in a regular transaction that should go smooth, that's going to put you up against your comfort zone, if not outside it. So, that's kind of where we live in this business.
Yeah, I agree. And, the thing about the phone is, if you're going to call expireds or old expireds or your farm or your sphere, you can't get punched, maimed, shot, kicked through the phone. The worst thing they can do is hang up on you, give you a little interesting commentary sometimes first. Yeah. But in your area, door knocking is an incredible way to do it as well. So you pick, decide which way you want to do it, then be consistent with your contacts, right? That's what you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
And we also should mention that your first year, you were runner-up for Rookie of the Year, weren't you?
Yeah, I was probably pretty close to that. It took me a while to get going, but once I did it, I hit the ground running pretty quick. So
that was a while ago. Why can you believe you've been doing this for 5 years? Wow.
No, it's crazy to think about. Most of the time, I was not sure if I'd make it to 2 years, and now here I am 5 years, and it's going great. So pretty happy with it.
Your first 2 years seem like a lifetime, and then you get into gear and it flies. Yep. But you got to be willing.
Repeat business.
Yeah, you got to be willing to do the initiation period, because everybody has to get through it. Everybody has to get through it. All right, Matt, any final words you want to leave these wonderful people?
Just get out there, have fun, and, prospect in volume. The more people you talk to, the better off you're going to be.
Yes. Prospect in volume, he means the amount of contacts, not the the volume of your voice.
Yeah,
although both are
not the sales price.
Yeah, don't yell at him. All right, Matt. I really appreciate you, the man. Thank you very much for taking your time out, everybody. We're doing this again on Thursday. Thanks, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Good luck, everyone.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.